Hi Flosstube, I'm Rachel, Stitchy Rach here on Flosstube and on Instagram. It is Friday the 21st of January and this is a YouTube channel about cross stitch. Hi everyone, it's been a long time since I've been here. Welcome back if you are a returning viewer and welcome if it's your first time here. I don't think I've filmed a Flosstube since November, I think. And towards the second half of the year of 2021 they got very sporadic, which wasn't intentional, just life got a bit busy and I didn't really have time. So instead of trying to pick up where I left off, it's now 2022, new year, new start, and it is the season for a WIP Parade, so I thought we would clean slate. I'll do a WIP Parade today, show you what is going on in my stitchy life, and then hopefully I'll be able to film every couple of weeks. I don't think I can commit to every week anymore, but hopefully I would like to film every couple of weeks. So that's the plan, but for today I have done some prep. I pulled all my WIPs out this morning and I have 33 WIPs to show you today. I've put them in chronological order. I think I've got cover sheets for all of them, fingers crossed. I printed off the ones I thought were missing, so hopefully I'll be able to show you. And I'm going to take you through those, and then at the end I'll talk a little bit about my plans for 2022 from a stitching perspective, although I am pretty sure that I will end up talking about that as we go along. So it's lovely to be back. As I say, I hope if you are, hold on, let me get my Coke. If you are new here, you will stick around and enjoy looking at my WIPs and my WIP Parade. And if you are returning, I hope it's nice to have me back. And it's nice to be back. So I'm going to take a swig of this Coke. And then, given that there are 33 things in that box, can you see it here? There you go, big box. I better get cracking because I do have to pick up my children from school later. When I did all my prep this morning and walked the dog, it was beautiful sunshine in the Kent countryside. Clear blue skies, bright sunshine, fantastic light for filming a Flosstube. Obviously now I've done my prep and had my lunch, it is quite grey. So we'll see how we get on with the light. I'm also using some new technology today, so please bear with me because this is, you know, designed to go wrong, I think. So I'm out of practice, I have new technology, the light might be really bad. It's going to make a great Flosstube, it's going to make a great Flosstube. Okay, WIP Parade 2022. I got my book out. What's it say? I'd like a refund on this adult thing. Yeah, I really would, particularly the last 2 years, suboptimal. Right, here we go. Let's dive right in. WIP number 1. So as I say, these are in chronological order, oldest to youngest. This is my oldest WIP. This is Kent. So it's a Kent map by Heritage Crafts. These come as a kit, or you can buy, I think you can just buy the chart. I just bought the chart and they're available on Heritage Crafts website, which I will link below if I get around to doing show notes, because I think on the last video I promised show notes and I never actually did them. So this is my oldest WIP. This was started before I was keeping accurate records, but it was started I think in 2014. I think that's how old it is. And where am I? And this is where I am. So as you can see, I did make substantial progress on this. The vast majority of the outline is done, and I'm just kind of going through and filling in these little houses. If you have ever done a Heritage Crafts kit, they are actually quite fiddly little things. I wouldn't recommend them for a beginner stitcher. They have lots of particularly on the buildings, and I don't know if you can see that, on the buildings, I don't know if it's going to focus, that focusing? On the buildings and things in there, there are lots of strange half stitches where you definitely need to stitch them on linen, because I think on Ada it would just be a massive faff. So they have like vertical half stitches, not the diagonal quarter stitches, vertical like half stitches where you stitch over 2 by 1 thread of linen. I don't know if that's making any sense, but it's almost like where you have a normal cross, in that same space you'd fit in like 2 vertical crosses or 2 horizontal crosses. I hope that makes sense, it might not. So they are a bit fiddly, those houses. But I was cracking on, and I started this when I was a monogamous stitcher. I used to only stitch one thing at a time. And then I think I put it down because I was going to have another baby and I wanted to stitch something for the baby, and it was going to be a significant wedding anniversary for my parents, and I wanted to stitch something for them. So it got put down and then never quite got picked back up again in any meaningful way. But I would like to finish it. I love maps. I would like it on my wall. Now, I don't really know what it's... I know it's stitched in all the called for DMC, so that's what the threads are. Looking at it, I'd say it's a 28 count linen, and I think it must be in cream. In my notes, it says it's antique white, but I don't think that is antique white, unless it was... they've changed the colour of antique white. So I think that must be in a cream, she says. Anyway, so there you go. That's my oldest WIP. I have no plans to stitch on that map this year. I am going to put everything back in the bags as we go, otherwise it's just going to be chaos and I'll never find everything again. So I have no plans to stitch on that this year, and that's fine because I have some very... oh god, loads of threads stuck in the zipper. I have some very clear ideas about what my goals are for this year, excuse me. And that map is not in them. But I will come back to it one day and I will get it finished. Maybe one for next year, maybe a focus for next year. Okay, WIP number 2. So that's the oldest by a long way. And then all the rest of the WIPs are kind of from when I really picked up stitching and started having multiple projects in 2018. So I've always stitched, but it was always been kind of one thing at a time. And then my stitching activity really increased in kind of from the beginning of 2018. I started taking on multiple projects. So all the rest of these are from 2018. And there were 2 WIPs in here from 2018, and this is the first of them. This is probably... I don't like UFOing, so UFO is unfinished project where you give your project away or throw it away. I don't like UFOing things. I'm kind of a, once I've started something I've got to finish it kind of person. But if I was going to UFO a project, I think this is the one most likely to be UFO'd. So this is Seasonal Streets. It was a mystery sound. That's the other problem. I am very good at starting mystery sounds, and then as more and more parts get released, I kind of often feel like I am less in love with them as I see more of the project. So I think that's part of the problem with this. I think I got less enamoured by it. Not that I don't like it, but I just... yeah. As more parts came out, I kind of was a bit like, Anyway, so Seasonal Streets, it's by Shannon Christine, and it was a sale for Lakeside Needlecraft, so it's only available through Lakeside Needlecraft. You can still get it as a full project PDF download. And I started this, I don't have the exact date, but I know it was in January 2018, which was when the sale started. You can tell how old it is because can you see that? I've gridded some of the fabric, which I don't do anymore. And I haven't, it must be said, even finished part 1. So this is on the called for fabric, which was Lilac Sky. It's an exclusive to Lakeside Needlecraft, and I think you can still buy this fabric as well. I think you can buy this basically is a kit on their website. You can choose an option for the thread and the fabric and the chart, or you can just buy the PDF of the chart, or you can just buy the chart and the fabric, yada yada. I picked, and I think they have lots of different counts, and they have both even weave and Ada, I think, but don't quote me, it's a while since I looked. So this is on a 36 count even weave in the called for colour, which was Lilac Sky. And that is how far I've got. I haven't even finished part 1, and I think, I can't remember if part 1 was just the border or if part 1 was the border and the house, this first house. But obviously I haven't finished part 1 because even if part 1 was just the border, I didn't finish it. So I've just done that top corner of the border, and I haven't even finished that first house. I might have finished the full stitches in it. Might just need back stitching. I'd have to look at the chart. Not sure. So as you can see, that hasn't had a lot of love at all, really. And again, it's not going to have any love this year. It's not in the plan. I'm just going to pack it away. It's in all the called for DMC. Called for fabric, called for DMC. As I say, I started that in January 2018. So that's not going to be a finish this year. They're quite intricate, those houses, and as some of you will know if you've been here before or if you follow me on Instagram, I do quite a bit of my stitching out of the house. So some projects lend themselves well to stitching while you're waiting for kids at clubs, and that one really doesn't, because it's lots of intricate colour changes and it's on quite a small count, and I'm often stitching places where the lighting's suboptimal. I'm often stitching in the car, and you just don't want to be, or at least I don't want to be, doing lots and lots of thread changes while I'm doing that. So that's project number 2. Project number 3 is the second one from 2018, and again, this was a mystery sal. So this is it. It's called Enjoy the Ride. It was a mystery sal long over from Caterpillar Cross Stitch. It is still available on their website as a PDF or as a kit. So very similar. This was a similar story, because all my other WIPs from 2018 are finished, long finished. Started this as a mystery sal, kind of fell out of love with it a bit. Didn't really know what I would do with it, because that is not the aesthetic I would hang up on my walls in my sitting room. Anyway, but I was going through my WIPs at the beginning of the year looking for something to take stitching out with me, and I came across this. I thought, I've either got to UFO this or I've got to finish it. That's where it is now. And so I pulled it out, and this is really good for out and about stitching, so let me show it to you. Here it is. Oh, the needles, hold on. Needle is flying around everywhere. Let's stick it in the fabric. Sorry, don't do this at home. Right, so this is where we are. So this is on 28 count. It's 28 count blue even weave. I don't know any more than that. I don't even know where it came from. Yeah, 28 count blue even weave. It's fraying quite badly. It's in all the called for DMC. And so because it's all these big blocks of colour and it's on a 28 count even weave, it's actually great for stitching out of the house. You can just kind of really get into a groove with it. And I pulled it out because I thought, actually, this just needs finishing now. There's all these threads stuck to the back of it. And my eldest said, I'd love that for my bedroom. So I thought, great. Now there is not only, not only is it a good project for out and about, someone wants it. So I have been doing this since the new year, during clubs. I have finished this pink star that I'd started, and I've done this whole carousel with this horse, and I've also finished some of the roller coaster. The roller coaster wasn't quite finished. The only changes I've made is that these stars at the top of the carousel were meant to be in white, and the outline of the horse's saddle was meant to be in white, and I thought yellow suited a carousel better, so I picked out yellow instead. I think this will be a finish this year. I think I'll only stitch it out and about, but it does actually stitch up quite quickly, so I quite like that. So that is number 3. That was started in January 2018 as well. I think one of the other things that put me off this was I don't stitch on 28 count very often, and for some reason when I started this I decided I was going to stitch with 3 threads over 2 on 28 count. And it does give nice bright coverage, which is perhaps what I was thinking because it's such a bright pattern, but actually it's now feeling really bulky and quite tight, and I wish I'd just gone for 2 strands as recommended rather than 3, but I can't change it now. So anyway, that will be, oh, I haven't put the sheet back in. That will be a finish this year. Okay, so that is 20, sorry Russell. That is 2018 finished. So WIP number 4 is my first leftover WIP from 2019, and again, if you've been here before or if you follow me on Instagram, oh sorry, that's a big one, this one, this will be familiar to you. So WIP number 4 is, I don't have a cover photo for this and you'll see why in a minute. And let me just pop that hoop off it because I want you to be able to see it properly. Sorry, it's massive. If you haven't been here before, you'll see why I'm struggling with it in a minute. If you have been here before, you know exactly what it is and why I am struggling with it. So this is my Peanuts blanket. This is for one of my children. I don't even know how to show it to you. It's absolutely huge piece of Afghan fabric. So I'm going to try and scroll it up as we go. Oh, sorry, this is really awkward. I hope this is showing okay because I can't think how else to do it, and I can't see what you can see because I'm now completely behind the blanket. Anyway, so this is my Peanuts Afghan. It's a large piece of and fabric from Zweigart. So it comes with all these, let me find you a good, kind of little squares in it. Can you see that? There's kind of a stitched in square into the fabric. Those squares are 90 threads by 90 threads. So if you're stitching over 2, they're 45 squares a box, and if you're stitching over 1, it's 90 squares a box. So this one's stitched over 1, for example, and this guy's stitched over 2. The stitches on the blocks that are stitched over 2 are huge and require 4 strands of thread because you're basically stitching on a 9 count. Anyway, this is for one of my children who is Peanuts obsessed. The patterns are from a range of books that I bought on eBay. So most of these are out of print. So as this one, that one's folded over from where I'm stitching. Oh, sorry. This one. They're mainly by Leisure Arts. I think they were all printed in the 90s. Can I see a date on these? So copyright 1996, that one. This one is 1998. Yeah, so 90s by Leisure Arts. I bought them on eBay. They do come up on eBay, so if you're interested, get a saved search. And the other place is from this book, Peanuts Cross Stitch. This is, I believe, still widely available on Amazon and things like that. This piece is one of my focuses for the year, and I want to get it finished. There are, how many more blocks left to do? There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There are 8 more blocks to do. And I think that is immensely achievable. So since the beginning of the year, I have already stitched Lucy. So she's new for 2022. And then I stitched this dancing Snoopy here. He is meant to be upside down. Let me see if I can find the chart to show you. Here you go. So this is the chart, and can you see there are 4 dancing Snoopies? And I'm going to do one of those in each corner. So I did the green one there at the end of last year, and now I've done the red one. And last night I came down and I started stitching the next block. They have a lot of back stitching in these, and that really makes them, and they often look quite weird before the back stitching. But I started this block last night, and that block is going to be Sally, so Charlie Brown's sister, and it's going to be this Sally here, which is how I think of Sally. So I've got to finish Sally and then do I can't add up today, 5 more characters, and they're quite quick stitches. I think Lucy took me about 4 days, and then just do the blue and the yellow Snoopy, and then I'm done. She says just. It's quite a lot of stitching, but that would mean that Snoopy is completed this year, and that is one of my main focuses. I want this absolutely ginormous WIP off my WIP pile, and my daughter asks me, when's my blanket going to be ready? When's my blanket going to be ready? So I would like to finish it before she loses enthusiasm for it. And also, it's been going 3 years now, and it's starting to make me feel that some of the things I'd like to stitch for me, I can't start until I finish this. So that needs to be done. So that was the Peanuts blanket. They're generally not as unwieldy as that one. That was the most unwieldy of all. Okay, so number 5. Oh, sorry, and Peanuts was started, I don't know if I said, on the 24th of January 2019, and it's using, it's all DMC threads on there. Okay, number 5. This was started on the 27th of January 2019, so clearly it was a week for starts. And I love this, and I'm so ashamed of how little of this has been done, because I absolutely loved it. This is Cardinal Points from Long Dog Sampler and Gentle Arts. So it was a chart designed by Julia Line for Gentle Arts using their threads, and only Gentle Arts distribute it. They're obviously wholesale, so you have to get it from a needle workshop. When I saw this on Flosstube in 2019, and the minute I saw it, I fell in love with it. And at the time, I couldn't find anywhere to get it in the UK, and I contacted Kate at Lakeside Needlecraft, and she ordered it in for me. And I think since then has always had it in stock, because so many other people wanted to stitch it as well. And I just love it, and I should have stitched more on it than I have, because I do love it. So this is stitched on 36 count white linen by WIPGO in all the called for Gentle Arts. As I say, it was a chart designed for Gentle Arts and exclusive to them. And let me hold it. So I am usually, not always, but usually a middle starter. So I started with the words in the middle, and here is where we are. So I've done about a quarter. A little over a quarter maybe. I know a lot of people start with the border on this, but the border's my favourite bit rather than the motifs, so I quite like getting the motifs done and having the border to look forward to. This is planned for some time this year, not huge amounts. I doubt it will be a finish, but I think this is a project that I would really, really like to get out and get back to and get done and have it on my wall. So that is Cardinal Points. I'm sure you've seen so many people stitch it, like Christine Stitch All the Things stitched it, Pam from Just Keep Stitching stitched it. I'm sure loads of other people did as well, and they've all got theirs long finished on their wall. Pam even started ages after me and just, you know, boshed it out. Me, I faffed around. So there you go, there's Cardinal Points. Love that. And Cardinal Points is in this amazing project bag by Rika, Rika King, House of Stitch and Stash. I was in her Project Bag of the Month club last year. I don't think she's continuing with that, but if you ever do have a chance to get your hands on one of her project bags, they are great. Okay, number 6. This was started on the 17th of February. Sorry, I've got a really itchy nose. Ugh, sorry. 17th of February 2019. And this is the second monster project that I also want to finish this year. So this is, see, I've scrumpled that already. I only printed this afternoon. Bouncing Babies ABC by Lucy Heaton. And this is an alphabet sampler I'm doing for my youngest. So when I was pregnant with my first two, I stitched alphabet samplers for them. And when I was pregnant with my third, I couldn't find an alphabet sampler I liked. So instead, I stitched an afghan, which is, well, I say it's finished. It's not fully finished. The stitching's finished, but it still needs some finishing. And then afterwards, I found this, and I love it. And I thought, oh yeah, I'll do that. Which is how I ended up having to do an afghan, the Peanuts afghan for my eldest, because I would like them all now to have an alphabet sampler and a blanket. The middle one's blanket isn't even started yet, so we'll see how far that gets. Anyway, this is huge. This is huge. Each of those squares is 80 by 80. So the whole piece is 400 by 480 stitches. It's just a beast. It is charted to be stitched as an afghan, actually, ironically, but I'm just stitching it as a regular sampler. As I said, this has been going since 2019, and I would also like to get this finished this year. This needs also to be out of the WIP pile. As I say, I am a middle starter, so it's not, this is also going to be another scroll job. I didn't start at A, so the highest I've got to is D for duck. And then, can you see all that? I think so. And so I've done all that, and that, and that, and that. So I have 12 squares. Look, can you see that one? I'm kind of looking through the linen. I think you can kind of see that. Oh, my arms aren't big enough. Ooh. There you go. You get the idea. And I love it, but it just take a lot of time. So there are 12 squares left. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 8 letters, and then the 4 corner squares. Can you see? They're just kind of letters. So that's one a month, isn't it? Obviously, I haven't done a square in January. This hasn't been touched yet in 2022. But I am taking part in WIPGO again this year. So this is my 3rd year of WIPGO. And this is on my WIPGO board 12 times. And it didn't get called in January, Peanuts got called. So my main goals are to get this finished and get Peanuts finished, because, yeah, I just feel that I can't start things I want to stitch for me until both of these are finished. That is stitched on 36 count white linen with all the called for DMC, because there are lots of shading and it's beautifully designed. It's a beautiful chart. It's going to look amazing once it's done. It's just an awful lot of work, but as I say, oh no, I can't get this. It's just a PDF. You can buy this on Lucy Heaton's website as a PDF download. I will put the link below. I'm folding it because it's just a PDF that I've printed off, so I'm not precious about it. But yes, that must be finished this year, and you can see all the DMC craziness. I've got 2 floss rings of colour and things that I'm running out of that are falling off. So yeah, it's just an absolute monster of a project. So that's that. Right, that's number 6. Number 7 is here. And this was started on the 22nd of February 2019. It's really weird, I've got 4 starts from January and February 2019, and then nothing until September. I finished everything that came in between. This is another mystery cell situation, and this is another caterpillar cross stitch mystery cell. It was Seize the Day. Again, this is still available on their website as either a kit or a PDF download. And this is where I am. So again, not hugely far along. And I think once Enjoy the Ride is finished, this might start to be a out and about stitch, because again I think this is a 32 count. Let me have a look, let's see if I've... Oh, right. Sorry, we had a technology issue as predicted. I was just saying that... Where's the... I can't even find where it's gone now. Here. Right, I was just saying that this is stitched on 32 count linen in the colour Gold Rush from Crafty Kitten. I don't think they're trading anymore, so unfortunately the fabric won't be available anymore. But it's in all the called for DMC, apart from, sorry, the towel here that I stitched in a thread from Jodie Ray Designs that was a monthly thread. I think it was called Heatwave. So that was number 7. Right, number 8, which I have already spoken about once when nothing was recording. It was from 4th of September 2019, and it's the Village of Hawk Run Hollow. This was my birthday start in 2019. I'm sure you're all familiar with Hawk Run Hollow and the wonderful Kathy Barrick and Carriage House samplings. So shamefully, and I love this piece, shamefully, this is where I am. I have the first square done. But I do absolutely love it. Every time I get all my whips out, I'm like, I want to stitch that one, I want to stitch that one. This is stitched on 32 count. I think it's June. Let's see if I can find the label. 32 count June from Chromatic. Is that going to focus on there? Chromatic Alchemy. Sam dyes lovely fabric, another British dyer. And that's where I've got to. I am doing the DMC conversion for this. So that's all DMC. And it's all the called for DMC apart from the river. So the called for colour on the river was, I felt, just too green. And obviously these are converted from needlepoint silks. And they do have a bit of a reputation for the DMCs not being sometimes quite what you want, and the DMC for that river was far too green for my liking, so I changed it up and stitched it in a blue. I'm not entirely sure what the blue was. Let's see if it's in here. No, it's not. Oh, I might have written it on the card. 932. I stitched that river in DMC 932. And I don't think it's too blue. I would love to pull this one out again, but again it's one of those that's falling into that category of I've just got to get those 2 other massive projects finished before I can return to this massive project. And I do have a habit of starting absolutely huge projects, as you'll see as we go along. So as I say, that was in the DMC in another Rika King House of Stitch and Stash project bag. They are fabulous bags. Right, so that was Hawk Run Hollow. Let's see if we can pick up speed a bit. And that is the end of the 2019 whips. So, moving on to 2020. And again, I have started things and finished them from 2020. These are just what is left of the things I started in 2020. So the first thing is whip number 9, and that was started on the 26th of January 2020, and this again is a bit of a theme as to what my leftover whips are. This was again a mystery sal. This was by Stitching Book Club, and it's the 3 Musketeers sal. Stitching Book Club is on Etsy, and when you sal, they're obviously all based on classic novels, and you read the novel as you stitch, and there are discussion days and whatnot. I was a member these last 12 months. In the last 12 months she released Sense and Sensibility, which I finished, Little Women, which is in the whip pile, and Great Gatsby that I haven't started yet. Anyway, So this was the Three Musketeers. This is shameful. I think this is the worst one I've shown you that yet. This is embarrassing. There. That is what I have done since the 26th of January 2020. And what's today? The 21st. This is nearly 2 years old. That is shameful. And the fabric is beautiful. Look at that fabric. It's not the called for fabric. It was something I had in stash. It's similar. The called for was a blue. This is 32 count Summer Sky by Crafty Kitten. Again, as I said a moment ago, Crafty Kitten appear to no longer be trading, so you won't be able to get your hands on any of that, I'm afraid. I have quite a lot of Crafty Kitten fabric in my stash because I used to be in her Fabric of the Month club. So that was the piece, and I did not use the called for threads either. I did my own conversion. They're very similar to the called for, but they are not the called for. They are a mixture of classic colourworks, gentle art, and colour and cotton. There they are, and they go. And that is such a great colour palette. I think this also needs to be an out and about stitch this year, because again, it's good blocks of colour. Good blocks of colour on a reasonably large count, light fabric. Oh, see, all these things to take out and about with me. This is why you do WIP parades, so you remember the things you have. So that one's that. And yeah, that could really do with a bit more effort, given it's been around for 2 years and has that meagre start. Okay, number 10. So now we are getting into May 2020, and that's when I took part in my first Stitch Mania. And for my first Stitch Mania in 2020, I started 20 things, one for each day for the first 20 days of May. So there's still, let's count up how many, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I still have 7 things left over from that Mania, which are going to be the next few things I show you. Some of them I've got a long way to go, and some of them are actually quite close to a finish. So here we go. So this was started on the 1st of May 2020, and this is in this amazing project bag from Sarah at Penelope, wrong way round, Penelope's Pocket. I love these. These are British bags, and she makes really, really lovely project bags. And in this I am keeping Real Comfort by Modern Folk Embroidery, a Jane Austen sampler. So obviously the Pride and Prejudice bag had to go with the Jane Austen sampler. And not only that, but it's also got this lovely matching, there you go, what do you call it, floss drop, or what do you call them, floss keepers, can't think of the word, one of those. So this was started on the 1st of May 2020. I am stitching this on 40 count antique white linen from Zweigart, and this is where I am. Yeah. So, you know, still a fair old ways to go on this one. I've got these houses on this side and some of this bow done, but obviously I've got this whole alphabet. I don't know if I'll do the alphabet. I might put some other wording down there, but I'm going to definitely do all the top bit as charted. And I'm stitching this using silk, Silks for You PR 011, I think. And the reason I think is because when I bought some Silks for You hanks. I bought more than one, and they came in bags like this. Not in this big mess, but in bags. And one of my children got hold of them and took them all out of the bags, and I tried to match them up. Sorry, the bag's very crinkly. I tried to match them back up to the bags they came in, so I'm pretty sure this is PR011, but it might not be. Anyway, this is, I have planned to do some stitching on this year. So yeah, hopefully I'll see some more progress on this one this year. I am hoping to finish both the peanuts and the alphabet sampler like long before December. I'm kind of hoping maybe by September I'll have them both finished, and then I can move on to other things. And if I could do that, this would certainly be kind of near the top of that list. I've even got some matching scissors in there. I love green, it's my favourite colour, particularly this kind of emerald green. Look how well the thread and the scissors match. Yeah, love that kind of green. So yes, that's WIP number 10. Right, so WIP number 11 is also from that Stitch Mania, and it's also another modern folk embroidery piece. So this is number 11, and I'm probably going to butcher how to say this, so I'm terribly sorry if I do. But it's a Japanese hiragana sampler, I think that's how you say it, hiragana sampler. If someone knows better than me, please let me know. So this isn't a massive piece, and again when I look at it I think, oh, if I put like some concerted effort in I could get that finished this year. And which way round does it go? Yeah, that way. Here's where I am. So I've got 2 lines completed and I'm coming back on the 3rd, so I've completed this line and I'm coming back this way at the moment, so not halfway yet, but it does stitch up fairly quickly. This is also on 40 count antique white linen, and I am stitching it in another Silks for You silk. This is clearly the mania of 40 count and Silks for You, and I think this one is PR 150. That again, same caveat supply as to the last piece. So again, I think if I just cracked on with that, that could be finished quite soon. And as stitchers, we always completely underestimate how much time it's going to get us to finish these things. But it feels like that's not a million miles away, doesn't it? It does feel like that's not a million miles away. So that was number 11. Number 12. This is from the 7th of May 2020. I'm sure you've seen this everywhere. This is Cottage Garden Samplings Forever and Ever. I love that. I have the whole series of these, what are they called? The Songbirds Garden series, and this is number 1, but I have all 12 of them that I would like to stitch. So, you know, when I'm 100, we may have got there. This one has had a reasonable, all these 3 actually have had decent amounts of stitching time since they were Stitch Mania started. This piece of fabric, when I showed you, seems a really weird shape, and I do keep panicking that there isn't going to be enough width on it, but I measured it and checked it several times and it keeps telling me it's right, so I have to trust it. Here is where I am. So I've nearly finished that yellow cardinal, and actually the tail of that cardinal is the edge of the pattern on that side. So there is a good border there. It just feels like this side looks very skinny, doesn't it? But I have to trust it. I have to trust it. I keep measuring it and it keeps telling me it's right. This is stitched on, let me have a look, it's not the called for, it is 36 count dapple by Picture This Plus. And I think the called for is Tin Roof by Weeks Dye Works. But when I got a piece of Tin Roof, and when I got it, my piece looked a real sagey green, and to me this picture looks more grey, and I wanted the grey rather than the sagey green, and I am stitching it in all the called for, which are all Weeks Dye Works, I think. So there they are, my big tangle of thread. So yeah, I love that. Want to get back to that. Not quite there yet. See, these are all the things I want to get some really great stitching time and get them finished when I finish those 2 like absolutely humongous projects. This is what I'm talking about, that it gives, once those are done, it'll give me more time to focus on these things. So that was number 12. Number 13 is also a Stitch Mania start. It started on the 16th of May 2020. Okay, I have to caveat that this is pitiful. This WIP makes me a little bit sad, and you'll see why in a minute. So this is Light by Barbara Anna Designs. This is a freebie. I think it's still available on her website as a freebie, or on her, if you go onto her Instagram, she has a link tree, and I think you can link to her freebies from there, and I believe this is still there. And I love it. Who doesn't love Barbara Anna? We all absolutely love Barbara Anna, don't we? She's a genius. Fox in a dress. Fox in a dress. Anyway, I started this for Stitch Mania, and it has had 2-day stitching. So it had the first Stitch Mania, and then it had, when I do Stitch Mania, I do the Blimey Cat method, which is if you still have a WIP left from the previous Mania. So this was started on the 16th of May 2020 and was still a WIP in 2021. So I stitched on it on the 16th of May 2021. So it's only had those 2 days stitching, but still, I don't think these were stellar days of stitching. This is where it is. There we go. And that fabric, can you see how sparkly that fabric is? It does send your eyes a bit crazy. But given it was light, I wanted her to look like she was at night with a starry sky. And I think this achieves it. I think it does anyway. But the start is rather pitiful. This fabric is, it's a fabulous fabric. Let me see if I've got the tag in here. This is 28 count opal cashel linen in the colour Owl's Dark Magic by Chromatic Alchemy. And I don't generally go in for opalescent fabric, but I think just for some pieces, just hits the spot there. Look at all that shine. Now, because I changed the fabric to such a dark fabric, I had to do a colour conversion on that. All DMC colours, I think. Yep, they're my colours. So the dress is going to be a much lighter colour. I think I've charted it in a light blue rather than what is charted, which is quite a dark grey colour. But yeah, I just feel really sad that this hasn't had any more love, and it doesn't lend itself to out and about stitching because the fabric's so dark. I'm quite happy to stitch on dark fabric, but it must be said, dark fabric plus the opal is sending my eyes rather crazy because you can't really see what's a hole and what's a sparkle. So I need really, really good lighting to work on that. So there's no possible way I could take that and work on it in a car. So it needs to be evening stitching. And I just haven't had the time, really, but I love it. So yeah, maybe one for a real focus next year or later this year when I've finished those other 2 projects. But I really love it. And it makes me sad it isn't further along. Okay, 14 and 15 I'm going to show you together. So these were started on the 18th and 19th of May 2020. And these were part of a series. So for Stitch Mania that year, one of the things I started was the Lizzie Kate, excuse me, yearbook Flip It series. So there's a design for each month, and I started all 12 as part of that. And there are only 2 left over. I have November and December left over. And I'm just trying to find the right card. So there's November, it looks like that. And then there is, December looks like that. And they're the only 2 months that now are outstanding in this series. Everything else is finished. And November is, where's that needle gone? Sorry, there's a needle sticking rather dangerously in this. That's where November is. Sorry for the big crease. So a reasonable amount done on that. I would say the vast majority of the way there on that one. They stitch up quite quickly. The fabric is from XG Design. It was a spring grab bag of fabric, and I think there were 7 or 8 pieces in there. They're all 28 count permin linen in different colours. And I stitched the whole series on different pieces from that grab bag. So that was November. And then December is, sorry, all the pieces are still in there because I haven't fully finished any of them yet. I've kept them all together so I can finish them. If you've been here before, you'll know fully finishing is not my strong point. So that I can fully finish them all together. And here is December. So again, I have broken the back of December. Not a huge amount to do. So that's just another piece in that grab bag. They're all stitched with the called for thread, which I think is all week's dye works. And as you can see on the other side of the December, I stitched January. And that was the first one I finished. I think I finished that in 2020 actually. There we go. So that was 18 and 19, and they're the only two. Sorry, 14 and 15 started on the 18th and 19th of May, and they're the only two left out of that series. Right, I'm going to have a breath and have a drink. Right, I have one more WIP left over from Stitch Mania 2020, and that was from the 20th of May, so the last day of Stitch Mania. And that was Good Ships. Can you see that? By Hands On Design, and I was doing the big piece here. And again, I think this has only had 2 stitching days. I don't think it's had any more than that. So not very far along I am here. So I've done some of the words and started that ship in a bottle, which is, I think, this one here. This is on 40 count, I think, antique white, and I am using none of the called for colours. I did my own conversion. There you go. And these are a mixture of colour and cotton, classic colourworks and gentle arts again, so all 3 again in there. And there's my conversion. It is similar to the original, but it's not the same. So I'd like to get back to that one, but again, time. So they are everything that's left over from May 2020. So number 17 was my birthday start in 2020. This was September, and this was Strawberry Sampler by From the Heart, Needle Art by Wendy. This I bought as a sal through Peakside Needleworks, I think. Yeah. And then decided to do it for my birthday. So Sue, who owns Peakside, did a whole kit. So she did all the flosses, which are all week's dye works. We got a nice thread minder. What do they call those? I can't think. Anyway, you know what I'm talking about. We got some. Oh, we got a lovely scissor fob strawberry. My cute little scissors. I don't think the scissors came with it. I think the scissors are mine. And we got a needle minder, because I can. Oh no, we didn't get a needle minder. That's a needle minder from somewhere else. And this is where I am. So reasonable amount done, but again hasn't had a lot of love. I say a reasonable amount done. There isn't at all, because it's that big piece. So I've only done this in the first line, and then this big alphabet is all eyelets. So that's going to take a while. This is stitched on 40 count Light Mocha by Zweigart. As I said, with all the called for week's dye works. So again, this one isn't down for any love or attention this year, but it is another one I'd like to get finished. Really pretty sampler, and also you get the charts for this drum and this needle book as well. And I do love that squirrel. Oh, can you see that squirrel? Although he's on the chart as well. It's cool. Cool's cool. Yeah. Anyway, it's going to be a while till I get to that. But I do love it. I do love it. The thing is, I love doing WIP parades because I love all my WIPs. And I open each bag and it's like, oh, I want to stitch on that. I want to stitch on that. It's just finding the time, isn't it, to stitch on the things. Number 18. Okay, so we're now into 2021. So these are all 2021 WIPs from, oh well, apart from the last few, because they're 2022 WIPs. These are all 2021 WIPs. I was really shocked this morning when I organised myself to come and film this, how many 2021 WIPs I had, because I didn't feel like I started that much in 2021. And then when I did a count up, I think I started 17 or 18 things, and 14 of those things are still WIPs, which is a lot more than I thought. Anyway, this was my new year, new start in 2021, and I was kind of hoping to get this finished. I didn't achieve it, but it was Fox Forest. Can you see that? Pardon me. It's Fox Forest by Al Forest Embroidery. And these come as, well, they do have a website that do PDF downloads, but this came as a kit, so I just cut the top off the box. Am I going to focus? There we go. This came as a kit from Russia. They are usually dispatched very quickly. I have never had a problem ordering or receiving goods from Russia. And this is where I am. So I have finished the majority of the motifs. I'm just having a quick look. I think all that is left on the motifs is another tree here and another fox here, and then it's the border. So I think the vast majority of the motifs are finished, but the border, if you look, there it is. Is that going to focus? Come on. Don't think it's going to focus. Going to focus? Not on me. Don't focus on me. There you go. There's quite a lot to that border. That's not going to be quick. But I have high hopes that this can be a finish this year as well. Given that, as I say, there's a tree and a fox left from the middle. And then the border. And I love it. The fabric is a 32 count green. It's showing pretty true. That came with the kit. And I'm stitching it in all the kit threads. And Our Forest do these amazing, they come on these little bobbins, and they just have amazing variegation. Look at that. Love that. Love this. Always gets, whenever I show it on Instagram, people love that one. It's so wrinkled. I haven't ironed anything, as you can tell. Sorry, just haven't. Didn't have time to iron 33 WIPs. This would never have happened if I'd had to iron 33 WIPs. Okay, so that was what, number 18. Right, number 19, we're back to Stitch Mania. So this is Stitch Mania 2021. In Stitch Mania 2021, I only started things on the days that I had finished what I started last year, if that makes sense. So I started this next project on the 2nd of May 2021, and that was because I'd already finished the thing I'd started on the 2nd of May 2020. And this is Rose, Hips and Ivy by Blackbird Designs from the Sewing Club book. And let me see if I can find the picture. I have to bend it back. And it's this drum. I'm trying to get rid of the glare. There we go. So that is what I am stitching. And this has had... I started it in Stitch Mania, and then I started doing Brenda and Laura Blackbird weekends for a little while, and then I did fall off the wagon with that. I can't quite remember why, but I did. But this is where I am. So, you know, there's a reasonable start on that. And most of that side border's done. I think all the side border's done, actually. And I've started to go along the bottom, and I've started one of the motifs in the middle. So yeah, I'm pretty pleased with that. This is stitched on, let me tell you, 36 count hog bristle by Fox and Rabbit. And I think I got that from Peakside Needlework. Yeah, sorry, another technology issue. So yes, 36 count hog bristle by Fox and Rabbit. It is showing pretty true, and that's in all the called for weeks dye works. Right, let's move on to number 20, which is started on the 3rd of May 2021, and it's a Prairie Schooler. It's my only Prairie Schooler on the go, and it's band samplers, which is Prairie Schooler book number 40, band samplers, and I'm stitching this one here. And there is not a big start on this. It's a bit not shambolic, it's a bit pitiful. It is, can't even find the start on the piece of fabric. I don't know where I started. Did I start at the top? Yes. There you go. That's my start. Had to work out what it was on the chart. I think it's this bit here. This is stitched in all the called for DMC, and it's stitched on 40 count light mocha by Zweigart. Yeah, long way to go on that. That needs some love. Some of these, everything I started in Stitch Mania 2021, barring a couple of things, is basically massive and is never going to be finished. Another Rika King House of Stitch and Stash bag. Okay, let's move on. Oh, 21. I love this, but again, it is another Mania start. That was huge, and I have no idea when it will be done. So this was started on the 5th of May. This is a kit from Luca S, and it's etude with strawberries. It's a gorgeous still life of some strawberries. Fabulous. I did change out the fabric, so it came as a kit, and I'm stitching it with all the kit floss, which is, I think it's Anchor. Yeah, Anchor floss. And it came with some 18 count Ada, and I didn't want, particularly with all the empty space, I didn't want Ada, so I switched that out, and I think this is a 36 count linen. Let's have a look. Dare stitch. I'm trying to see if my stitches are with one thread or with two. I think they're just with one. So this might actually be a 40 count. Not entirely sure. Anyway, that sad little strawberry is where I am. I don't even know which strawberry that is on this chart. I think it's this one. I think it is this one that's kind of pointing upwards. So actually it should be, that's my start. So this is going to take a while. I think this is a 40 count linen. I bet I didn't write it down anywhere. I didn't. But I think, looking at it, I do appear only to have been stitching with one strand of thread, which in my mind makes it likely that I was stitching it on 40 count. Is this one or two? Sorry, I'm just pulling them apart just to see. It's so long since I know that's two. That is two. Oh, so maybe it is a 36 count. And I haven't written it down because I did look in my book earlier and I've only written down the date it was started. I haven't written down what fabric it was on. So maybe it is a 36 count. Oh, I don't know now. See, this is why 2021 Rachel should have written things down. Now I think perhaps it is a 36 count. I think I'm stitching that 2 over 2 on 36 count. And it was meant to be stitched on an 18, so that would make sense, wouldn't it? Yeah, let's say it's a 36 count white linen. Yeah, we'll go with that. We'll go with that. As you can see, that's another one that's gonna be a WIP for a while. A WIP for a while. I did just start massive things. As the next one we'll show you, so this is WIP number 22, and this was started on the 6th of May 2022. Oh no, I think I've just mixed up my order, my box. Hold on. Hold please. Hold please. Pop that back in there. Right, we'll see. We'll see what happens. This could all go wrong now. Anyway, this is definitely WIP number 22, and it was English Castle, which is a Dimensions. Is it Dimensions Gold? Yeah, Dimensions Gold kit. I had never done a Dimensions kit before this one, which is pretty terrible, isn't it? Not that I can really claim to have done a Dimensions kit now. So I am using all the kit thread for this, and because it is full coverage apart from this bit of sky up here, I just used the Ada that came with the kit, and this is where I am on this massive picture. I think that is these red flowers here. So again, a long way to go. I was feeling ambitious last May, clearly thought I was going to live forever. This castle it's just called English Castle, this kit, but that is Scotney Castle, which is just over the border into Sussex from where I live. Or maybe it's in Kent. It's on the Kent-Sussex border, and it's a National Trust property that I like going to, called Scotney Castle. So do look it up, it's very pretty. And it does kind of have that ruined castle that's got this beautiful garden around it, which is why I picked it. Okay, next, WIP number 23 was started on the 8th of May. And is Stacey Nash Primitives House on Pumpkin Hill. So that was not massive, actually. That one, you know, was more realistic. It's not tiny either. What is it? Does it give me a stitch count? Do you give me a stitch count, Stacey Nash? No, she doesn't. She doesn't. Anyway, doesn't matter. And this is where I got to. A bit of a white pumpkin. I don't even know which white pumpkin, to be honest. I think it must be this one here, because I'm generally a middle starter. I think it's that one, but I'd have to go and have a look. This is stitched in all the called for, and I think I'm doing it on the called for fabric as well. I think it's just on charcoal by Zweigart, which is the called for. I do really like that. And it shouldn't take, focus camera, shouldn't take too long to stitch up, if I ever pay any attention to it. So there we go. See you and me, House on Pumpkin Hill. Again, because the fabric's so dark, even though it's a 32 count, I don't think I could stitch that in the car and whatnot. Okay, I need to crack on because I do need to go and pick up the kids soon. 24. WIP 24 was started on the 9th of May 2021. It's Seasons of the Heart Spring by The Blue Flower, and this was in Punch Needle and Primitive Stitcher magazine, and there is one of these hearts for each season, which I would like to do. However, this is where I am. So, you know, we've got work to do. So that's just kind of the top of the heart and the box around it. Haven't got onto any of the beautiful flowers. This fabric is 32 count Raven's Core by Chromatic Alchemy. It's showing pretty true. It's like this grey blue mottle. Really like that. And I'm just stitching it in the called for DMC. But obviously haven't got that far yet. So that's that one. That way. I don't think there are going to be that many new starts this May, given how many things are still hanging around from last year. I think at my last count, although I say that, I think when I totted it up, I have, if I finish the Lizzie Kate's November and December, which are pretty close and don't need a lot of stitching, I think I have 7 free spots for Stitch Mania this year, which is quite surprising because I seem to have a lot of Mania whips. Number 25 is, do I have the full one? Is Sans Souci by Long Dog Samplers. I bought this, that's going a bit funny on the camera, isn't it? I bought this from So-and-So, who no longer exist, when it was a Sal that didn't start it. But I have all the downloads, I have all the bits. And I started it last May, on the, did I say the 10th? Yeah, 10th of May. And here's where I am. Another rather, there you go, sad little start. But there it is. This is stitched on, sorry, I'm trying to get hold of the tag. 32 count Belfast in the colourway Near Us by Chromatic Alchemy. And this, it's stitched in silk actually. The silks are Thread Pickers silks. There they are. In the colour Sloth, which is like a really pale silvery blue. And it's really beautiful. It's showing quite true there actually. It might be a bit bluer than it's showing. It might be washing it out a bit. Let's see if I put it against a white background instead. Yeah, there you go. That's truer. But there's, again, long way to go on that one, isn't there? There's a long way to go. Yeah, there really is. It's about the journey, not the destination. I am a process stitcher. One of my friends came to my house this Christmas and did say, you don't have a lot of stitching in your house. I'm like, well, there are bits here and there, but no, you're right. It's mostly in a box and needs finishing. And I take on things that are massive, so I don't finish very much. So it's a good job I enjoy the journey and not just the finished product. So that will get there one day. Again, not one you can take out and about because just the fabric's too dark for me to stitch on out and about. Right, number 26. This was started on the 11th of May 2021 and this is J. Marshall 1857. And this is by Hands Across the Sea and it's one of their minis and I bought this at the beginning of 2020 for a fundraiser for the forest fires in Australia. That's what this was released as, because back then forest fires in Australia seemed like the worst thing that could happen, and then, you know, the rest of 2020 happened, so that was fun. And where have we got to? This is where I got to on this. So again, quite a long way to go. I'm still on that top alphabet. But I love this. I really love this. This is stitched on 36 count linen in clotted cream by Foxglove. I think it's lace and linen, but is it linen and lace? I'll link them below. They do really beautiful fabric. and I did my own conversion on the thread to, I didn't use the charted, it's charted in Soie d'Alger, and yeah, no. So I converted it out of stash to Colour and Cotton and Classic Colourworks, I think. I don't think there's anything else in there. It's just Colour and Cotton and Classic Colourworks. That's my colour palette. It is quite bright. It's quite a bright sampler actually. It has lots of quite pretty colours in it. Yeah. So this is on my WIPGO board for a bit of attention this year because I think I can make quite quick progress on it and it's very pretty. So that's Jane Marshall. Right, we're getting there. I think there's only a few more to show you now. Again, another House of Stitch and Stash project. Hi everyone, I am back. Although you didn't know I'd gone away. You may notice that the lighting is now a bit different and is not as good, to be honest. It looks quite yellow. And the drink has changed. So as anticipated, we had a bit of a technical hiccup, and at one point I thought I'd lost an hour and a quarter of film, but I haven't. It's all good, it's all there. So I'm just going to try and spend 20 minutes just finishing off. There's only a few whips left. So where was I? So Plum Street samplers. This is number 27. It's in this amazing Penelope's pocket bag. And I don't think there could be a more perfect bag for this chart if you tried. Look at that. So this is Snort Stack by Plum Street Samplers. I would like to stitch not all these stacks, but a lot of these stacks and have them all framed and have a gallery wall of them. But at the moment, on my first one, this is where I am. So we have a way to go. This is stitched in all the called for threads on a 40 count White's Wygart that I tea coffee dyed myself. And I wanted it to be that grungy. It's showing a bit more yellow, a bit oranger than it is in real life, but it's not too bad. So I'm sorry about the lighting now in the evening. The lighting in here is a bit suboptimal for showing fabric and whatnot. So that was number 27 and that was started on the 13th of May 2021. Oh, and I haven't put the chart back in it. Okay, number 23. So this is my last Stitch Mania start of 2021. So number 20, sorry, not number 23, number 28, I can't read my own writing, was started on the 21st of May 2021 and it's Arranging Microbes by Ink Circles, and I want to stitch this for the playroom. Bathroom's a bathroom off the playroom, and I think it would be appropriate for my children to have that reminder. This is the first Ink Circles chart I've ever stitched, actually. I do like it. And this is, now which way do we think is up? That way maybe. This is how far I got. So again, hasn't had loads of time. I think perhaps I only stitched on it that one day. So I'm just on the big Petri dish in the middle. It's really bright colours, it's fab. This is on a white 40 count. It's not called for to be white, but I wanted white just kind of because of, you know, bleach and cleaning and all the called for threads, and they are a beautiful colour palette. They're so funky, look at those. So funky. So yeah, I'd like to get back to that one too. Only so many stitching hours in the day. Okay. WIP number 29. So here we're back to another mystery sound that didn't really make it much past the starting blocks, and this was Stitching Book Club's Little Women, and that was released I think May, June last year, and I started it on the 12th of June. I have some funky scissors in this one, look at that. Aren't they cool? Where did I get to with this? I think I did this in all the called for. And then I saw someone else's, I can't remember who, someone else's colour conversion on Instagram. I loved it and then kind of wished I'd done that instead, and I think then I lost a bit of momentum, but I will pick this back up. It's not a long stitch. There it is. So that's 40 count white with all the called for DMC, but again, there's another mystery sal that I am really not very far along with. I think maybe this is telling me something about mystery sals and me. Anyway, I'm sure I will get back to that one very soon. Right, okay, we're on to 30. Number 30 is my 2021 birthday new start. And I did this as a birthday sal. I think the hashtag was Rachel's Garden Birthday Sal. Loads of people joined in. I know Stitchy Sally did, and Crafting Kirsty. I know there were others who I've just completely forgotten, so I'm sorry, I should have looked it up. And I think they've all finished what they started, and I am nowhere near. This is massive, but my start is pitiful. So this is Garden Vegetables by Kathy Barrick, and I've wanted to start this for ages. Can you see that? It's like a vegetable chart showing you all the different vegetables and how long they take to grow and when they should be planted and things. And if you've been watching me for some time, you know I have a vegetable garden and I love it. So I started that and really didn't get very far with it. In fact, I got to here. That fabric is not showing true at all. That is showing very yellow, and it's actually quite a browny colour. It's more brown than it is showing. It is stitched on, let's find it, 36 count Tobias by Seraphim Fabrics. And I had a splurge, given it was a birthday start, and I splashed out on all the needlepoint silks, which I got from West End Embroidery in the UK, and they're on my floss drops that I ordered as part of the Great Floss Drop Trade. I always want to say swap, Great Floss Drop Swap, but it's trade, Great Floss Drop Trade, organised by Mama Loves You GB. So they're the ones I sent out to people. And that's all I got done. So as you can see, my birthday starts. They get started and then they don't really get any love, but I do love it. This is in another Rika King House of Stitch and Stash bag. And that one I would love to get some more time on because it's beautiful and I've wanted to stitch it for such a long time. It was nearly my birthday start the year I started Village of Hort Run Hollow. I was really tossing up between those two, so it's been on the start list for a while. Right, nearly there. Oh, got to turn the page as well. Number 31 is in another Penelope's pocket bag. This is a 12 Days of Christmas bag. How cool is that? And the reason it's in a 12 Days of Christmas bag is because I'm stitching a 12 Days of Christmas chart. Now, this is a Bothy Threads kit, 12 Days of Christmas, and it comes for you to stitch it as one big sampler like that, which I didn't want to do. I decided I wanted to stitch them as 12 ornaments. So I stitched Partridge and a Pear Tree, and that's FFO'd. I don't have it with me. And then I stitched 2 Turtle Doves, which is not FFO'd because it's me, and that's in this bag. And then on the 15th of December 2021, I started 3 French Hens, and I thought I might get it finished, but I didn't. So here it is. I've got the hen of the French hens. The hen's there, and as you can see, pretty much done. Need to do its legs, and then just need to do the 3 and kind of the fill-in and the back stitching around that. So that won't take long once I get a move on with it. I am stitching these on 18 count Aida. I think the kit came with 14 count Aida, so I might have to jiggle around with some of the sequins and the beads that came with it, but I didn't want 14 count size ornaments. So on an 18 count Aida, because they're full coverage, so I didn't mind doing them on an Aida because you won't really see the fabric. And while it was a kit and came with all the thread, I converted the threads to DMC, because obviously I was going to be messing about. I changed the metallics to Crynex because I don't like stitching with DMC metallic. That's not going to focus, but it's horrible. I don't like it. And then the other change I've made is the background of each of the blocks. I'm stitching in an over-dyed, so you get a bit of variegation in the background. And I haven't quite decided which colour I'm going to use for the hen. I've got a couple in here that I am toying with. One is Weeks Dye Works Juniper, and one is Weeks Dye Works Holly. And I'm toying with them. God, this one's in the right tangle as well. I'm toying with it because, bear with me, because I prefer the green of Holly, but Juniper has more variegation. Let me see if I can find some white paper. So Holly is on the left and Juniper is on the right. I know this isn't great light for colours, but I prefer this green, but this has more variegation in the thread. So decisions, but I'm not there yet, and I might yet find something that I prefer to either of those. So we'll see where we get to with that dilemma. So that's number 31. Again, I think that's a good out and about stitch when I get there. It could be a good possibility for stitching on the go, particularly on the Aida, and particularly when you're doing the background and just filling in. Okay, number 32. So that is all the 2021 starts. Number 32 is my New Year's New Day start. New Year New Start, which I started on New Year's Day 2022. So this is pretty new, and I started Tree of Life by Barbara Anna. This is only available as a kit through Knit Moscow, and I ordered that on her website, and it came from Moscow super speedy. They're the kits that come in the big tubes. I just printed that off the website because it doesn't come with a cover picture. So I only stitched on this on New Year's Day. I have not stitched on this other than New Year's Day, and this is my progress. So a cute cat and a few mushrooms. So it's this branch here. So there's a way to go. This is on a 32 count Belfast linen that came with the kit, and I'm using all the kit threads that come on this super organiser card, and I believe they're all DMC. Yay! And again in a nice House of Stitch and Stash project bag from Rika King. Right, and I do have one more WIP, which is number 33, and I started it on this week on the 18th of January, having told myself I was going to try and have no new starts apart from Mania starts this year, and we are 3 weeks into the new year and I've had 2 new starts this year already. But I can't show it to you because it is a secret stitch. So I promise I will come and show it to you when it is finished. But for now, I can't show you that one. So, 33 WIPs. I think 4 sessions of filming, several hiccups, but next time will be easier because I think I now know what I am doing with the new tech. Quickly go over some plans before I leave you. I bought my WIPGO board, so I'm doing WIPGO again, which is the brainchild of Jessie Marie. Jessie Marie does stuff here on Flosstube. Go over and to her Instagram and her Flosstube if you want a full comprehensive explanation. I think WIPGO also has its own Instagram or Facebook page now. Definitely has a Facebook page and it might have its own Instagram now as well. Anyway, so here's my board. I don't know if you can see that, I don't know if it's going to focus. But it is mainly peanuts and the alphabet sampler. In fact, all but 2 blocks are peanuts and the alphabet sampler. The only other 2 projects to make it on here are Cardinal Points and Jane Marshall. And those 2 squares are blacked out because they were called for January. They were both peanuts and I have completed those goals for January. So Jessie Marie usually calls the numbers on the 27th. So, and today's the 21st. So between now and the end of January, my plan is to try and get in another peanut square on the Afghan, which I started last night. And that is because I would like to get ahead on my WIPGO board. Because last year, I was doing really well on WIPGO until I got to May. And then because I was doing Stitch Mania as well, it was all too much. And then I kind of fell off the WIPGO wagon. So I don't want that to happen this year. So what I'd like to do is get ahead on my WIPGO goals. So I've got a bit of leeway when it comes to Mania. So I'm going to finish the Sally block that I've been working on, that I started working on last night on my Peanuts Afghan. And then I am going to pick for the rest, and that I think will take me until the middle of next week. So probably until about the 26th, something like that. And then for the last remaining days of January, I'm going to pick a project I just feel like working on. And I thought I knew what it was going to be. And now I've gone through all those projects, there's about 6 things I want it to be. So I'm going to have fun choosing. But I thought that way, because this year is going to be, I think, quite monogamous on peanuts and that big alphabet sampler, because I just want to get them done and off the WIP pile, that I'm going to need to break it up with just sometimes a bit of sweewee. Stitch what you want when you want. So that is my plan. And then I hope to be back here at the beginning of February, because that's 2 weeks away. How is February? Only 2 weeks away. So yeah, it'd be February the 4th. So I hope to be back on February the 4th. And I will then be able to show you what the February WIPGO calls were, and my progress on them and what my plans are for them. So that's it. I'm going to go and have some dinner, drink my wine, try and stitch all this together. But thank you for bearing with me. Sorry the lighting was very dodgy at the end. And it's nice to be back. And I hope you've enjoyed seeing my whips. I hope I have enabled some of you. And thanks for watching this epically long Flosstube. Until next time, Flosstube, have a good week.